In this module, we're going to take a deeper look at the note sequencer. So what I'm going to do is just load up an initial patch. And that is the boring octave jumping sequence that you get with a default patch. So I wanted to start a new sequence so we could go straight from the beginning and develop a sequence together, and I can show you how to operate it. So what I'm going to do is press sequence, and you can see we've got 2 pages, which I mentioned before. The first one allows you to select the step. You can see at this point we've only got 4 steps. And then for these 4 steps, what I can do is I can use the octave slider to bring all of the steps down to 0. So let's have a listen to that now. That's all at 0 octave now. But let's say the third one I want to bring that up to. And the fourth one I want to bring that up 5. And the first one maybe I want to bring that to 2 as well. Let's put them all to 1. And we're just going to create a 4-step sequence to start with, just to keep it really basic, and then I'll extend the sequence and we'll make a longer sequence. So, first thing I want to do is just select the steps and then choose an octave and a note for each one. So step 2, let's go up an octave. Step 3, let's change the note. And step 4, let's go to a D. That works quite nicely. The next one to look at is the gate. So let's go and turn all of these down to around 3. And you'll notice that they're really short now and snappy unless we bring up the amp time. So what I'm going to do now is take them all the way to the top. Not all the way, just like around 99 at the maximum. And you notice that the notes are longer now, so we can basically select different note lengths for each note. And that can give you this push and pull aspect. The other things that we've got is rests. So step 3, completely turn the note off, maybe step 1 as well. Now the other thing that we've got is, if you go all the way to the top, you get a tie. So for a tie to work, you actually need to have both notes the same. So step 1 is C octave 1. Step 2, octave 1, C. So you get that dun dun, and they're both on the same note. So step 1, we change that to a tie. We get a longer note now. And that'll become more useful when we change the division to 16ths. So that's in the second page, and then you can see our divisions. Might as well talk about that now. So that's eighths, quarter, or 32, which I never really use unless you're working in half time. So let's put it on 16ths so it's faster. Then let's go back to the first page. Now let's just change some of these octaves. Let's say that first note, I want it to be longer, as I mentioned before, so it's more useful for me when it's on 16ths because then I can turn it into an 8th. So what I could do is, the first 2, obviously change that first one to a tie, then it gives me some longer notes. And it's more useful when you're making quite a long bass sequence that's maybe 16 to 32 steps. And you want some of the notes to even sometimes be like quarter notes. So you got 16ths, 8th notes, and then quarter notes, and then you can also put some rests in there as well. And we'll use this a lot when we come to make like a longer sequence. Now the last thing that I want to talk about on this page is the velocity. So what I'm going to do is just put all the gates back to in the middle. And what I'm going to do now is just bring this filter cutoff down. Let's add a little bit. of resonance and envelope amount. Now, as we go through the more advanced stages of preset building, I'm going to show you ways in which we can use velocity mapping as a modulation to come up with some really interesting sequences. But for now, at this point, I'm just going to show you how to use it in a very basic way by mapping velocity to, say, the cutoff. So what I'm going to do is press the encoder. Actually, I need to come out of sequence first. Press the encoder, go to in the menu and go down to velocity. Now you can see here, this is your first introduction to these pages. They're all quite similar. It's just a list of parameters with zeros next to them. Now it's really simple. What you do is you select the parameter that you want to map to velocity. So we've got velocity at the top, and then I want to affect low pass cutoff, which is this. So VCF LP cutoff, or cut for short. Press the encoder in, and then it's a bit annoying when you're making a preset pack because I did a lot of modulations on this, and I have to go like this to turn it up. So, you know, you can imagine like 50 different mappings, and I've had to do that. My arms were killing by the end of that preset pack. So I kind of wish it was like a rotary encoder that just moved really quickly, but it doesn't. So let's just open this up quite a lot. Let's go to like 60-ish and come back out of that now. And then go to the sequencer. And let's just make sure all the velocities are all the way down to start with. I'm going to press play, and then on one of these steps, maybe this octave 2 D sharp, I'm going to bring up that velocity amount. So you can hear that one step, I'm able to open up the cutoff for that. And this is how you come up with really interesting grooving sequences. So when you first get the Typhon, you might just put in a really simple sequence and it's pretty still and boring. It's all down to this, and we'll talk about this more as we go through the course. Are you enjoying this Dreadbox Typhon tutorial? Well, if so, you can update your skills even further by joining the Dreadbox Typhon Mastery Course. The link is in the video description below, and once you join that, you'll get access to all of the modules. We'll be going through all of the parameters on the Typhon, all of the under-hood tricks and tips, how to connect the Typhon up with external devices and DAWs, and I'll also go through some preset builds from the ground up as well. Also, there is a Discord community, and once you join that, you can share your work on there, and we'll all be on there giving each other feedback and helping each other out. So hopefully I'll see you on the course, and I hope to see you in that Discord community as well. So let's just go back into that option. So velocity, you can see there we've got 62. Don't forget we can map this to anything we want. We're going to keep it pretty simple for now. Let's bring that down just to show you what happens when we bring the modulation value down. Oh, just need to come back out, hit play, go back in. It makes the depth amount lower, but we've still got the velocity modulation mapped. So you can find a sweet spot that way once you've set up your sequence as well. Just bring that down. So let's show you what that sounds like again without it. Really boring. Really, really boring. Don't forget we can always do something similar with the tracking. But with the tracking, we haven't got that level of control over each note. Because you might only want to accentuate a few notes rather than all of them. Like that. Let's do one more mapping. So I'm going to do filter time now. Let's come out of this. Go to velocity. So now we want VCF EG level. So that's this one here. Actually, we don't want that. I'm lying. We want EG time, which is that one. So you can hear that some of the notes are more open. And we could also do the level as well, this one. Let's go back to the sequencer, just bring them back down again, just listen to the difference. Let's find some sweet spots for each one. That's really nice. So yeah, really cool stuff. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the second page now and talk a little bit more about the second page. So maybe I'll start with probability and swing as well. So probability, at the moment it's on 100 by default, but if I lower this, you'll notice that some of the notes drop out. Now this is really useful if you've got a long melodic sequence with a lot of 16th notes. And it's not like a bass line, it's more of a layer that sits on top of bass and leads and other things. And you can bring the probability down, add delay to it, and you end up with this generative kind of like sequence which isn't as stable. And obviously if you add delay to that as well. That's pretty cool, worth experimenting with. So let's go back into the sequence again, turn the probability back up. Also got swing. So you'll hear the notes starting to swing. Obviously very useful. And then we've also got division, which we touched upon earlier. Quite nice on H actually. And then length. So at the minute it's just a 4-note length, but let's change this to 16th now. And let's go back now to the steps. So we only programmed 4, now I'm going to try and program the rest of it. Just bring velocities down for these first, these extra ones. So it can take quite a while to get used to the sequencer, it's a bit weird. I kind of like it with the straight C's. Let's just... That's quite cool. These first 4 notes, just want to bring velocities down a little bit. Let's just go back now and finish this off with a bit of delay. So getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but what I want to do is just go into the sync options and go to effects free. And you can see at the moment it's on free, but if I put it on BPM, it changes the time so that it's synced to the BPM now. Let's change it to a ping pong delay. Add a bit of distortion as well. So we kind of created our first preset there. So what I'm going to do now is save that. So let's go through how to save again. So I'm going to select Bank D. I'm going to go to 25. And let's just call that I haven't got an interesting name for it, so I'm just going to call it preset 1. And then I know that it's part of this course. So obviously there's so much more that we can do to that. That's very basic what we've just done there. Obviously as we go through, I'll show you how to make much more interesting and intricate preset designs. So that's pretty much it for the note sequencer. And next we are going to take a look at all of the effects.